Well, Jim, one of the things that could, of course, make someone want to seek out cornbread hemp could be the stress from watching. I don't even know if stress is the right word. Just the gut wrenching feeling that you have to watch a lot of stuff, and that in that lot of stuff there'll be a little stuff. But why don't we review whatever WWE TV you've watched in the last week?
Oh, now you just dump it onto my lap here. Now with this, it might be or it might not be, but no. Smackdown is a 3-hour program. Brian and I had a lot going on this weekend, but they had a couple of the big stars on the show, John Cena and Randy Orton. And I said, I got to see what they're going to do with Cena and Orton, because this could affect the future of wrestling as we know it, right? And I mean, here's what they've got themselves in a situation. They have they meaning the WWE, they have mega stars. They have the biggest wrestling stars in the world. But they can't risk the health of those megastars, and they can't make those megastars go out and wrestle for 20 minutes every week because they're older, so they have to come out and talk for 20 minutes every week. Or elsewise, many of them would be in fucking traction. I understand that. But has it ever, we can talk about what they talked about. But before we talk about that, Brian, has there ever been an interview in wrestling where it took them so long to say basically so little? This went forever.
It did go a while. You were waiting for the big, aha! You were waiting for something. And, I'm interested in it. And I thought, if Cena's really doing his last year, you kind of have to do something with him and Orton if they're both there and they're both healthy.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Are they building to just the one pay-per-view and then which is in like a week, and then they move on?
I'm not opposed to the match, but this was more like a debate in, it's a 30-minute talk program, because with 30 minutes with commercials, this would have been a 30-minute television show. Just this interview, if they'd have put commercials in the middle of it, that would have been your time. They're cheering for everybody now. They're cheering as soon as the Cena music plays, they get a big pop. Then they say John Cena sucks, John Cena sucks, John Cena sucks, because it fits. And then Cena does a thing where he calls the announcer in and hands him the note. And they're chanting, "Let's go, Cena, Cena sucks," and for a long time. And then the announcer does the proper introduction that Cena feeds him, and they cheer and boo. And then as soon as Cena goes to opens his mouth, Orton music. And he comes walking to the ring, trickling to the ring, meandering to the ring. He's milking it. The song is longer than Stairway to Heaven. And they're liking seeing Randy Orton, but by the time he got in the ring, I needed to shave again. And then Orton starts with, in a couple of months, it's going to be 25 years since we first met. And I'm like, my God, he's going back that far. But he didn't necessarily go back that far, but he could have. He does the promo. Millions of kids looked up to you, John. Generations and generations of children looked up to you. Who is he, Captain Kangaroo? What's of generations and generations? It's like one generation is 20 years, right? Anyway, and he talked about how great a person that John was until, all this is happening. I figured out how you need to fill the void in you. You need to have kids. Then you'd be back to who you were. It would make you a better human being. I'm like, I don't know whether that fucking line necessarily got over with many of the audience, especially at Cena's age. And also, I've heard that you have more experience than I have, but I've heard the kids require a lot of attention.
Yeah, I mean,
But
and people who are really self-centered may not want kids, and
yeah,
again, it's such a weird.
yeah, because you've got to be centered. You've got in life, and that they have courses and they have coaches and they have speeches and seminars to help you be more centered. You've got to take yourself and you've got to center it and be self-centered.
But still, what the hell was this? What was Randy
I
Orton?
don't know what this was.
Randy Orton hitting him with that. It was just such a weird.
Well, you know what? You know what? Now, after when John goes off on the, I bet it was John fed him, says, tell me I need to have kids. Because then Cena says, how dare you parent shame me in front of the whole world? Congratulations, you have kids, but good for you. I don't have kids because I've spent 25 years raising all of yours. And he's yelling at the fans. And then he cut a promo on some 6-year-old kid in the front row. Your dad's a loser, kid.
Yeah, that was a very interesting part because he's never been that harsh with any fan ever that I can remember. And all of a sudden he's like, "Your dad's a loser." Then he starts going after the kid.
Yes, but and if he could have kicked a dog, I guess too. But then Orton does this. Well, without the fans, there'd be no WWE. There'd be no John Cena. It's the World Debate Federation, and so they went on more about the Cena. The fans have manipulated the truth to feel good about their lives. Or they both did a great job of delivery. And Orton, he's fired up. He's got energy. Talked about his family tradition in wrestling. And then Cena was very snotty to him. I've won 17 titles. You've won 14. But when I take this, you're going to be frozen at 14, you babbling moron, and 3 generations of your family will be erased.
Babbling moron.
Babbling moron. But then Orton, who is for no provocation whatsoever, has just been known to lay waste to people. So, well, in that case, how about we fight right here, right now? And then Cena says, no. So Orton turns around disappointed, like, now what can I do? He won't fight me. How could I possibly? And then Cena says, it shouldn't be here. They don't deserve it. It should be at Backlash in St. Louis, your hometown, because I want you at your best. He wants him at his best again. The heel wants the babyface at his best. Because this is as close to the belt as you're ever going to get. And then he tossed him the belt and fucking nailed him and got some brief heat on him and went to hit him with the belt again. And Orton ducked and RKO'd him. And now every time somebody touches Cena now, the first bump he takes, he's there lifeless for the duration. I'm thinking somebody ought to do the old Dick Murdoch thing and throw the fucking cup of ice and hit him in the back of the head, see if he'll take a bump over the top rope. And then the fans chanted, Randy, 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 Randy. So they're just there to cheer at everybody as they go through the Shakespearean drama that they are presenting. But goddamn, it's just, I don't want the $1 billion stars to take bumps every week, especially at their age. But holy. And it just takes a while.
Well, at least they started with that.
And that's as far as I got.
Well, that was
on
SmackDown.
That was SmackDown.